Hey everyone, it's Shelby, and this is my Makerspace vision board presentation that I have laid out for y'all. And we will go ahead and just dive in. So this is just the agenda of what we're going to be talking about, which is goals for my Makerspace, educational benefits, UTech model, book and build, problem solving, idea board, resources. And then, of course, the space itself, funding and materials for the space, a marketing plan, users, assessment, and any closing statements or questions y'all might have that, of course, you would, I guess, comment underneath my assignment. So for my goals of Makerspace, of course, I want to design a space for children so their imaginations can run wild and encourage collaboration amongst the youth while inspiring them to learn through experimentation. I think oftentimes a lot of people aren't learning through collaboration. That's one thing I really want to hone in on if I do create a makerspace at my library, is children working with other children to solve problems. The educational benefits, as we learned throughout this semester for makerspaces, is that learning to take failure in stride. Of course, the children will probably be making a lot of things in my makerspace, and I want them to know that if when they make something and it doesn't work out right the first time, or even the third or fifth time, like mine did with the snowflake or that angel string of paper, is that to keep trying until you get it, or at least learn from the failure. And another benefit is providing the opportunity to innovate, building critical thinking and problem-solving skills, exposing students to new opportunities, and just developing overall a wide range of skills that they can use now and later on in life. To use the UTech model, I think, honestly, it's going to be just the foundation of my makerspace. It was really neat to learn about something that I could build almost any youth program off of. For the longest time, I just thought of during my story time programs, we would then just create something that followed directly after that book based off of its theme. And now I want them to even tinker with things and experiment before they get to the final step, which would be creating. So I do think that this model will just be the absolute core, the foundation, just to ensure that I am hitting every single possible step in a learning process for them. And for the book and build activities that we learned, as I just mentioned, during my story time, after I read 2 books, depending on what the book was about, I will introduce to them a craft. For example, coming up, we're going to be reading about bringing in the new year, the Chinese New Year, and the craft on the right-hand side of your screen is a little dragon that we will be making, a chain link dragon. And now I'm even wanting to go back and just see how I can implement the UTech model into this. So I already do a book and build rendition during my programs, and I want to add to it and see if I can even do book and build with youth, like tweens and teens, because right now it's just for kids before they enter kindergarten. And the problem solving and inventing a prototype that we did, absolutely amazing. And I can't believe I didn't think of this before, but I used to love watching Shark Tank, and I think it would be such a fun long program that we would do at my library, because it would probably take more than one go around if a child were to come first to the initial meeting and I introduced them to what the goal of this summer-long program would be. I tell them, let's think of something, a problem in your life, and then try to solve that problem by inventing something to help you with that problem. And they can leave their masterpieces behind, of course. They can take it home with them if they'd like. To make this work, though, I would definitely have to think about the space that I have available, how I would store these projects that could be really small, or they could get really, really big, depending on what the problem is that they are trying to solve. But I do see myself doing it. Maybe not this summer, because I already have it planned out, but I definitely want to implement this somewhere in the summer, because it will even give families something to do throughout the summer if they're struggling for something that isn't too hard on the pocket. Because again, we are a public library, and I would do my best to make sure that any materials that they would need would be funded through this program. They wouldn't necessarily have to do anything out of pocket. And some of the ideas that I am taking with me from this class is what is here, which was the strum cup from Damaris, and then Jennifer did a kite, and then Anna did a car. And the car is slightly different than the one that Anna had done, but I want to implement this in my STEM Academy program I do on a bi-weekly basis. I don't have milk cartons, but I'm sure I could get them from somewhere because we're right next to a middle school. The kite would be such a neat thing to make, especially now that we're getting to the warmer weather. And the strum cup, that's absolutely fun, beautiful. I could even do it during a story time because I implement music throughout that. So if we were making music and they actually made the thing they were making music with, I think it would be awesome. So for my resources, I listed in my Makerspace plan 5 articles, of course, 5 books, and then 5 websites that I found that I will 100% continue to look at and use. And these were the 5 books I was able to find. The Makerspace workbench is kind of a little bit more on the tech side. I'm not too sure, given the current funds I have available, how that will be possible, and same with the Makerspace Librarian Sourcebook. But the Embrace Makerspace and then Rethinking or Remaking the Library Makerspace are both really good books that have given me quite a bit to think about as far as how I want my Makerspace to look like in the future when I do implement it. The space I currently have at my library is photoed here. You'll see where the bubble mat is. This is how I set up for my STEM Academy, and then I have a Lego program, and I normally just leave it 2 chairs per table and space it out. And I have a little kitchenette also pictured here that you see, which it comes in handy if we get a little bit messy during my science programs. So in what I drew, you'll notice, again, it's just set up with chairs separated, but depending on what I would want to do during a Makerspace day, the tables can move. Everything is on wheels except for the chairs. But this room is extremely versatile, and it would just provide such an amazing space for this, whether I need to move out all of the tables and chairs and we're working on the floor, or put the tables all together and we're going to make something ginormous. It's a very flexible room, and I do think that is something that's needed for a makerspace. Although I have seen a lot of little like corner makerspaces online with librarians or even teachers in a classroom, and it's just a little nook and cranny. And I'm sure that works wonders, but because I have this amazing space, I would definitely utilize this. That way, everything can kind of be confined to one room. If we do need to step outside, the door to the outside is just right next door, so not a big deal. And now for funding of this space. There are several ways that I could think to get money, and one of them, of course, is just the library funds that I get every fiscal year, and then the Friends of the Library. We have a good amount of money allocated to us through the Friends. We just have to fill out a lot of forms requesting exactly what the purpose, and I've been told it's been rare when they tell us no. Normally we only ask the Friends for funds during our summer reading programs, but if I wanted to start a makerspace during summer reading, summer would be the time to do it, because that's when they are ready to give us several $100s. Of course, we just have to explain why. And personal funds, honestly, everyone's probably done it. I don't mind spending a bit of my own money every once in a while, as long as it's not crazy, just for quick little things that filling out an entire form for, and it costs me less than $20. I'd rather just go get it myself. And then asking for donations, whether that's through the public, or even amongst my staff. It's really funny. There's one staff at a different library who she had asked me for plastic bottle caps and asked if I could help get my staff to also collect them. And I said, yep, say less. I got you covered. And then I was like, you know what? I could even maybe ask her. I was like, if she could provide me with empty paper towel rolls and toilet paper, that would be great. And let's see, also book sale. I've done book sale a lot here. We withdraw books often to keep our shelves fresh with updated books. And I could see, and we also get a lot of donations, and sometimes I can't take the donations because it'll have something written on the inside, like the children's name, which isn't the end of the world, but we really aren't supposed to be putting those on our shelf. But if they're donated, then, I mean, we could sell it for 25 cents. And I know it's just 25 cents, but that could add up over time. And before I know it, I got funds for my program. Now, this is a list of materials that I also have in my Makerspace plan that I'm submitting. And it's just an assortment of things that I would ask anyone and everyone to donate to the library if they wanted to. Whether they have golf balls, they don't golf anymore at the house, ornament hooks, craft sticks. Even one thing I really like is used party decorations or gift wrap and gift bags. Those come in very handy with a lot of things. Magazines, old magazines, there's some really cool pictures in magazines. Children's books, there's a lot of crafting that you can do with book pages that I've seen. Coffee tins, love any type of tins. We could make so much with that stuff. And in a beautiful, perfect world, if I have $5,000 to spend, unfortunately, there'd only be 3 things that I could really use at the moment. And one of them would be at least 2 of those stem cards in the top left-hand corner. I think these things are amazing. They're easily accessible to children. And there's paper towel rolled on the side, on the back part of it, not pictured. There's ways to hang up paper. I do have an excessive amount of ribbon at my library, and it's stored in the most ridiculous way. It's unorganized, it's hard to keep track of, and sometimes I forget even what ribbon I do have. So these ribbon bins would be beautiful. Now, the biggest chunk of my money would go towards this whiteboard on wheels, because imagine if we're going through the UTech model, and part of it, of course, is tinkering and using. I would want them to plan out exactly what they're doing, like the kid pictured here, and then everybody could just put up their ideas on this wall and then start creating. I think it's beautiful. I think it would get them excited to see their creation hung up on a wall. And of course, it could just be erased, dry erase, and it doesn't look like it takes up a lot of space, which is another thing. Although I do have a space made available for this program, the room can get filled up pretty fast. And it looks sleek, it's mobile, and I think it would work wonders in my makerspace. For marketing, we love Canva at my library, and one of the things, of course, we would hit hard is social media and in-house signage. We have hundreds of people coming throughout our library every single week. I think out of the 6 branches in my system, we are the busiest by thousands. And signage has always been a tried and true for us. Another one is word of mouth. I constantly find myself telling people outside of work, oh my gosh, you should come to my program, this is so fun. If I see somebody at a park. Local advertising is also another thing I would like to do. I've done it before at a local coffee shop. I have a play cafe for 0 to 3-year-olds, and their parents, guardians come and just hang out. And it's kind of for those who don't go to daycare. It's their opportunity to socialize. And there was a point when I was reaching out to local coffee shops to see if they wanted their coffee to be highlighted in the kitchenette space. Whether I purchased it or they wanted to make a donation, it would be a great way for them to even advertise. So it'd be kind of a trade-off. I leave some advertising materials with them, they advertise with us through coffee. It was going to be beautiful. And then our library system does a discovery brochure. It's about 30 plus pages, and we do this quarterly. 3 months at a time, we highlight everything that every single branch is doing, and these get distributed left and right. I put them in Take and Creates. I hand them out during all of my programs, especially if it's a new face I've seen or I haven't seen before. And these, they make their way throughout the city, and that's one of the best ways. It's just getting the word out any way imaginable. And of course, my users, I would really like to tap into the tween and teens. I have a hard time getting them into my library, especially the teens. For some reason, I know they have extracurricular activities, or they just want to hang out with their friends after school. The last thing they want to do is go to a library. But I really would like to try to make this an appealing thing for them. The younger kids, they're coming because their parents need something for them to do on the weekends or even after school, just burn off the last bit of energy that they have. So, of course, focus on youth, but I would really try to hone in on getting the tweens and teens excited about a makerspace and coming to the library and understanding that a library is not what it used to be by someone constantly hushing them. You can't get loud, you can't be creative. There's more than just checking out books.